Hey everybody, it's Miss Smith. So today we're going to be balancing single and double displacement, or you may also hear me refer to that as replacement, single or double replacement. It's the same thing. So anyway, the process for single and double displacement is the same. So I'm not going to write the rules again. The rules are the same. The steps are the same. So I'm just going to write down and do these problems. So here's the first one. We've got PbOH2 plus HCl yields H2O plus PbCl2. Okay, so the only thing that's a little bit different this time is they're starting to get harder. So this is why I broke it up in 2 days. Is the first day synthesis and decomposition are pretty easy. Single and double displacement is a little bit harder, and combustion is the hardest. So again, we're going to list every element we see. We got lead, we have oxygen, we have hydrogen, and we have chlorine. Something that's kind of important is this is the first time that we've had a polyatomic in parentheses, this right here. So there's actually a trick that you can use where when you write these down, you can leave OH together. But in this particular one, we can't do that because OH doesn't stay together. So when you do that and you would write OH down here and count that as an element, one single element together, it would be if you had an OH on both sides, here and over here somewhere. But I don't have that because it actually turns into water. So I can't do that shortcut. So I have to break down oxygen and hydrogen. All right, so let's go ahead and get our tally. So we've got one lead on the left and one lead on the right. We've got oxygen. We've got 2 of these because this 2 goes for the whole thing. So I've got 2 oxygens. And then over here on the right side, we have 1 oxygen. Hydrogen, now this is the only time this is the only time you're going to add is when you have hydrogen in multiple places. So if you look, I've got hydrogen here and I have hydrogen here. So I've got, because this 2 multiplies this and it multiplies this, this gives me 2 hydrogens there and 1 hydrogen there. This is the only time you add, and that would give you 3 on the left side, and then it would be 2 on the right side. And then we've got 1 chlorine and 2 chlorine. So remember I said try to leave oxygen and hydrogen last. They tend to take care of themselves. Okay, so we won't do this one or this one. So let's do, lead's already balanced, so let's do chlorine. So chlorine has 2 over here. So that means I need to fix this chlorine. So let's put a 2 in front of this. That would make that 2 chlorines because it multiplies the chlorine, but it also multiplies the hydrogen. But you got to remember we already have 2 hydrogens over here on the left. So that would give me 4 hydrogens. Because, when I did this one, it multiplied, and that made that 2 hydrogens there, and I already had 2 over here. That's when you add them, and you get 4. Now, the lead is fine. We fixed chlorine, so all that's left is oxygen and hydrogen. I'm going to try to fix hydrogen. That's just kind of what I want to do because it's got a bigger difference. It's got bigger numbers to it, so that's just kind of what I feel like I want to do. So I've got 4 here. I need to get 4. I already have 2 here. So if I put a 2 here, that makes that 4, and it makes this oxygen 2. Well, looky there, everything's balanced, everything matches. So just remember to put the 1s in the blanks, and that's it. So 1, 2, 2, 1. All right, next. We've got K plus MgBr yields KBr plus Mg. Okay, list everything you see. I see potassium, I see magnesium, and bromine. Now I've got 1 on the left, potassium on the left, 1 potassium on the right, 1 magnesium on the left, 1 magnesium on the right, 1 bromine on the left, 1 bromine on the right. So everything is balanced. So all you do is you put 1s in the blanks. Oh, that's not a blank. Put 1s in the blanks, and that's it. Next. We have HCl plus CaCO3 yields CaCl2 plus H2O plus CO2. All right, so you list everything you see. We see hydrogen, we see chlorine, we see calcium, we see carbon, we have oxygen. Okay, I think that's everything. So this one's got a lot. So let's go ahead and let's get our tally. So I've got 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 1, 1 and 1 and 3 and 2. Now, if you're not, I know I went through this really quickly. If you have no idea what I just did, please stop this video right now and send me a message so I can explain it. All right, so we're going to leave oxygen last. It has a tendency to take care of itself. We'll leave hydrogen last. It has a tendency to take care of itself. So let's do chlorine because these other two are balanced. So let's try chlorine. Let's see what we can come up with. So chlorine has 2 on the right, so that means the one on the left needs to be fixed. So I'm going to put a 2 here because I have 2 on the right. So let's put a 2 there. Let's see if it works. So that 2 goes for the chlorine and the hydrogen. It changes both of those. It goes for the chlorine and the hydrogen. Okay, so that gives me 2 hydrogens. Looky there, it fixed itself. It gives me 2 chlorine, so that's great. Now I just got to fix this oxygen nonsense. Now we talked about yesterday if you have a 2 and a 3 play, an odd and even play, least common multiples. Least common multiple is 2, between 2 and 3 is 6. So if I've already got 3 oxygens here, let's put a 2 there. Let's see what it does. So that's going to be 2 calciums now, 2 carbons now, and 6 oxygens. Well, let's go over here and let's fix this oxygen on the right side. Now, wait a minute. I just realized that I made a mistake. Hold on. I've got an oxygen here, and I have an oxygen here. So I actually have 3. Okay, so this is a very common mistake. So I'm actually glad that I made this mistake while we're working on it. It's because you may actually make this same mistake. It's very common. So I'm glad that you're witnessing this. So let's back up a minute. So my tally was actually wrong. So I've got an oxygen here, I've got 1 of those, and I've got 2 here. So that is actually 3 oxygens. So that means that I was originally balanced already. So this 2 in front of this calcium carbonate needs to disappear, and then it's completely balanced. That's it. So that's a good mistake. I'm glad that that happened. I did not plan that, I promise. Okay, the last one that I'm going to show you today, I'm going to actually do one more just so I can show you that trick I was talking about earlier, is, let's see, we've got Br2 plus Ki yields Kbr plus I2. Okay, so list everything you see. We have bromine, we have potassium, we have iodine. All right, so I've got 2 bromines on the left, 1 on the right, 2 potassiums on the left, 1 on the left, 1 on the right, 1 iodine on the left, and 2 iodines on the right. So potassium's balanced, so I'm going to leave it alone. Let's try bromine. Let's just try it. Let's see. So I've got 2 bromines over here, so that means I'm going to put a 2 here and see what happens. So I'm going to multiply potassium and multiply bromine. So that gives me 2 bromine and 2 potassiums. So that's good. So bromine's fixed, but we messed up potassium. So let's see if we can go fix potassium on this left side. So I'm going to put a 2 here. So that gives me 2 potassiums and 2 iodines. Now everything is balanced. We are good to go. All right, so let me try one more. So NaSO4 plus CaOH2. That would become, sorry, I have that little dot there. Hold on, let me erase. Okay, so let's go on to the next one. Let's predict the products real quick. So 2 things are going to switch, and that's going to give me NaOH plus, I'm going to run out of room here. Let me zoom this in a little bit. It's going to be CaSO4 with a 2 out here. Had to get that to go in there. That's a 4, by the way. Okay, so you write everything down that you see. Now, this one actually works out because I have SO4 on both sides and I have OH on both sides. I actually use this trick twice. So instead of going Na, S, and O, I would do SO4. I could use the whole thing. Now remember that SO4 can go inside a parentheses, so I need to use the whole thing. And then I got calcium. Instead of going oxygen, hydrogen, I just would do OH. So we get to use this trick twice. That's great. It makes it so much easier. Okay, so I've got 1 sodium on the left, 1 sodium on the right, 1 SO4. Remember that SO4 is a whole entity. There are not 4 SO4s. There's only 1. This is a whole thing right there, the whole thing. Now this one over here, this is actually SO4 in parentheses with a 2 on the outside. That means that I have 2 of those. Because I've got parentheses around the whole thing, and then I've got 1 calcium, 2 hydroxides, and 1 hydroxide. So sodium's fine, calcium's fine, but let's fix this SO4 and OH. So the SO4 on the right has a 2. So I'm going to put a 2 here. That gives me 2 sodiums and 2 SO4. So SO4 is good. But I messed up my sodium on the right side. So let's put a 2 here. That gives me 2 NAs and 2 OHs. And I'm balanced. And that is it. All right. If you have any questions, you know where to find me.